I told them like what improvements to make on it, how to get the most out of that, so they realize the appreciation, not investor. They sell it and make that money and roll it into their dream.
Welcome back to the CashFlow podcast, where we talk about turning properties into profits. I'm your host, Jason Yoss, and before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors. First, Daniel's Plumbing, doing all things residential and commercial in San Diego, LA, and Orange County, as well as Rainforest Heating and Air, servicing all of the Phoenix metro area. We couldn't be here without them. Thank you for your support. Now, to my guest, Bo Bortner. Bo, great to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So Bo and I just came back last night from travel, each of us.
Yep.
So we're bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to rock. So just before we get into it, good vacation?
It was great.
I love it. I love it. And you were in?
Vancouver.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. And it's a city for anything you want, right? Stay up late or enjoy food, right?
Yep. The food's incredible. The architecture's incredible. Outdoors, everything's there.
I love it. I love it. Well, welcome back. I'm so excited to have you on here. Someone of your pedigree. This isn't your first rodeo. You've been doing this almost 20 years, correct?
Yep.
And you're with Team Metro Real Estate. Is that right?
I am.
Tell me your tagline, because I love it.
My tagline is walking with you through life.
And this is about how you connect with your clients. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's not just a tagline. It's a way of doing business and a way of being.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You were telling me before that it's everything from walking the dog to making sure their house is ready to go and everything in between. How did you decide that was the service and the way you were going to run your real estate business?
I think that when I was much younger, I was seeing a lot of examples of people who were making good livings, but they didn't have what I wanted.
Right.
They weren't always happy. Money seemed to be more the focus than the quality of life and people. And I'm not really here that long. And so I want to make an impact while I'm here.
This is the constant theme when I got to know you a little bit before, is that your laser focus on service. And we're going to hear more about it. Why residential real estate? I mean, you could have been doing shopping malls. Like, why this market?
So for me, residential real estate, I talked to you a little bit about that, like how I met a gentleman at a restaurant opening, and he had asked me what I was doing. I was changing careers. I had been doing some client relations for a law firm, and what happened was I met this guy, told him I was thinking about real estate. He turned out to have his family had a real estate coaching company, still has, and he told me to come to one of their weekend events, and he said, if you want to get into real estate, this is how you should do it, and if you don't want to get into real estate, he's like, I want you to be a coach for me. So I had a path forward either way, and just by saying yes and talking to somebody at a random place,
Mentorship is a huge part of success that I've seen from not just in our industry, but others across the board. If you've been successful in business, chances are someone helped guide you and gave you some principles to get you there. Talk to me about the mentorship from Jamie.
So my mentor, Jamie Hopkins, and I met him at that event that first weekend. And I was coming from, I'd seen a lot of the business owners that were on their fifth wife. Each one had been left by a mistress to the next, and then even the people who had like families that were still together, like they were 80, 90 hours a week. They weren't even seeing their families. Yeah. And it didn't resonate with me. Right. And I didn't want to be a part of such an adversarial career, because I have to carry that every minute of my day. Yep. And so when I met Jamie, he was taking his kids to practice, multiple kids to multiple different practices, and he had a nice home and a good community in San Diego, and he had nursed his wife through brain cancer, and it was like, and there was an emotional intelligence to him, and the ability to show up for the people he loved, and that really resonated with me. And so I actually started working with him, and I still actually work with him 20 years later.
That, again, that's what it's supposed to look like. In my vision of like a mentor and the way I get into your business, that's the way it's supposed to look. And I do have a similar story of Val Vandazilver and how she got going and how she got me going. And it's the same thing. Work-life balance, like how do you find it then?
Well, I think, another thing about Jamie, like I could trust his advice.
Okay.
I was able to receive his mentorship because I knew he was coming from a good place.
Right.
And like the other people's highest best was for him.
Right.
And for me, that work-life balance is filling my cup first.
Right.
So that I have energy and time to pour into my clients and my friends and the people I love. And so it's really about, I've got to take care of myself in order to take care of others. You know, it's the old airplane, put your face mask on first.
Yeah, right. Well, and let's dive into it. Your real estate philosophy is service.
Yeah.
It's like, and how do you embody that with your clients?
So what I didn't know getting into real estate is how much service would be involved. Right. And residential more so than commercial or anything else. You asked about shopping malls, like
right.
That's great, but I'm not in the front lines. Yeah. And so like when I'm doing residential real estate, I'm there for people's, when they're getting married, when they're having children, right. When their family's expanding, when they're getting a divorce, when there's a death in the family, when they lose a parent, downsizing, their kids are moving, like every single thing in life that's a big part of life, you know, I'm there for, and I'm able to really my clients can trust me, you know what I mean? Like they can come to me and talk to me, and like maybe I've told people it's not the right time to sell, or maybe they should keep that property, and yeah, that would be a transaction for me, but it's not what is best for the client. Right. And I know that'll come back to me in the long run.
Sure. That's exactly right. I know that you didn't bring it up, but one of the things that, and I'm going to say on your behalf, is that I'd love to see when you talk about going down to, because we're right next to Tijuana here, mm-hmm. and building homes for those less fortunate. I'd love to hear about, like, hey, helping assist with meals for those who don't have enough to have meals or are in a dire state. Like, that's the kind of thing that I know that you've been a part of, that to me shows the absolute dedication to that kind of philosophy. Are you still going to Tijuana to build homes? I know you've done a couple, right?
Yeah. So when I first got into real estate, finding a career that enabled me to continue my service in other areas, I did have a weekly route for 19 years to deliver meals to terminally ill people. I love that. And I built over 20 homes in Tijuana. And that's part of real estate for me, is like, I love helping first-time homeowners. Yeah. I love, like, the rising tide helps everybody. You know what I mean? People talk it, they don't do it. And that is, and again, just from our initial conversation, like, it's so real. And so I want to segue that into some case studies, because there are some deals that you've been a part of, mm-hmm. that absolutely show this. I want to talk about a current deal that you're working with. Let's talk about it. Set the stage. Greater San Diego single family. Talk to me about it. Greater San Diego single family. And they came to me. They had both been laid off, mm-hmm. About 8 months ago. 1 6 months, 1 8 months, and they'd been looking for work, and they're a family with small kids, and they just aren't able to get the work, right. You know, and so they made the decision to move their family and move out of San Diego, and so they brought me in, and that's a difficult decision, and you have to. So we're figuring out, like, when does school year end, and right. when do the kids out, and currently the job of my clients is the things I looked at a couple avenues, trying to get them as quickly as possible. I talked to investors, and the amount of money that they were offering just didn't make sense to them. Right. So I suggested they do a few of these fix-ups and repairs themselves, and kind of gave them some guidance on that. And so their job is preparing their home. And I actually got some pictures last night of the kitchen's looking great, and like, awesome. And so that helps them. That helps them through a tough time. And a big part of my job is just stress reduction. Yeah. Like, it's even when it's happy. I always tell people having a child is like being pregnant, or having a real estate transaction is like being pregnant. Like, yeah, right. Like, there's these months of discomfort. There's a bunch of unknowns. There's sleepless nights. You might get irritable with your partner. Yeah. And probably more so, I would say it's like getting pregnant and not knowing who's carrying the baby. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Because each one is different, and something comes up, and finally you're able to make it through.
The fact that you're nurturing and guiding them through this, and not just saying, well, you don't have funds to go out and hire a general contractor, that's on my roll. Like, sorry, I can't help you. Like, that is what resonates to me, as well as guiding them to, hey, focus on this, focus on that, this kitchen, this floor, this paint. Yep. Versus just going like, well, you can do this or that and let it be. All right. Do you ever feel as though they might not be able to get to where you want them to go, or you feel like with your guidance, your clients are able to get there?
They're going to get to where they want to go. I mean, they're going to make much more on their home than they could have in any other situation. So I'm helping them get the best they can.
Right. And you didn't push them to an investor saying like, hey, like, no, you need to take this. This is the best you're going to get.
No, I had some investors come by and look at it and give us answers. And then I told them I just didn't think that was the best case for them.
Too many agents would have pushed them into like, no, just make this deal, got their commission, and moved on. Let's talk about one of your best deals, especially for the client, because I know that your mantra is you need to do things that are feeding you spiritually, not just financially.
Right.
So let's talk about first generation buyer.
Well, I had a couple come to me who were in a position where someone has suggested they talk to me, and they weren't even sure they were in a position to buy a house.
Got it.
These were first generation Americans. Nobody in their extended family owned anything.
Right.
They had 2 little boys, and so they came to me, and I started with a goal. You know what I mean? Like, not tell me what you can afford right now, and like, just like, what is your goal? Like, what is our vision, so we have like a place to head. And they told me their goal, and it was probably 2 transactions down the road.
Nice.
But I told them how we could get there.
Right.
And so we started with a 2-bedroom condo, which was in their wheelhouse, and not a pretty one, right? And because they also are first generation, they have a lot of skilled labor in their extended family.
Fair enough.
And I told them like what improvements to make on it, how to get the most out of that, so they realize the appreciation, not investor. They sell it and make that money and roll it into their dream. And like, it was really exciting. Like, I knew that I was changing those little boys' lives, like, and the trajectory of their families for generations. Absolutely. And like, when I showed up with the keys, there was a mother in a maid's outfit, and cousins showed up. It was a big deal for this family. And like, just to be a part of that and get to be, I don't know, help somebody in that extent, and that helps not just going to be like over when I'm done helping them. Like, it helps for generations.
Absolutely. And what's so great here is you took a goal that wasn't an initial transaction. It wasn't possible.
Right.
You broke it up into pieces that they could consume and they could get to. And now, like you said, condo, Mira Mesa,
yep.
didn't look pretty.
Yep.
But now, several years later, it's a ton of equity.
Yep.
And soon they'll come back and say, okay, let's go to the next part of that goal.
Yeah. And so I see so many people who think, oh, I'll never own in San Diego, or I'll never buy in San Diego. Oh, I can't afford to. And they give up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, okay, what if you have to own a home in your 20s and you have a roommate or two roommates and they help you pay the mortgage?
Yep.
That's not going to be the way it's always going to be, just because you can't buy a 4-bedroom home on the first transaction.
Right.
You know, like there's no reason to give up.
A lot of people forget the fact that there is, maybe you don't get in the exact area you want or the exact property you want, but 1, 2, maybe even 3 step-ups later, you are in that dream for home. Yeah. It's so great to see you providing perspective to somebody who thought they'd never be able to get there.
Yeah, it's a real honor. Like, and I'm there for the beginning, those 2 little kids in their new life, and I've been there. I had an older woman who came to me, not in the best of health, and they needed to sell their home. She was living with a family member. She was going to sell her other house and use that money to pay for assisted living for her husband.
Right.
And so I asked her if she could give me $30,000, up front. I said, I can take this house. I can coordinate and make sure the floors are done, the counters are done, get this fixed, and I tripled her money on that. And so, and that is huge for the care of her loved one. You know what I mean? That
investment, but it's more important that trust that she was able to give to you, and then how you were able to repay her with that. That's what it's all about.
That is
you're right.
huge.
Her husband is going to see that in spades later on. What do you think? What's the common denominator in a lot of these that you see? Like, first generation, we've got people who didn't think they were going to ever get a house. We've got somebody who they don't have the funds to maybe fix it up, versus somebody they have the funds and you're able to put that to where they triple. Like, what is the common denominator that you're seeing with the clients that you have that makes it so special? Because all these transactions are special. None of these are, okay, thanks, I'll see you later, give me my commission check. None of them are like that. What is the common denominator?
I mean, most of my business is referral based, so it's probably people thinking I might be a good fit for the situation.
Yeah, right. Apparently you surround yourself with great people, because that's amazing to have other people say, why don't you talk to Bo? Bo's going to help and make sure that you find the answer to what you're looking for. That's a huge testament to what you've been doing. And as I said in the beginning, service is the mantra to everything, like everything you've talked to me about your career. So I want to transition, and I want to talk about, like, the market's, it's not the best. What are some of the biggest challenges that you and your clients are facing right now in the 2025 market?
I think the mental price adjustment for the general population, especially with things like Redfin and Zillow, who will spit out a price to your client. And I mean, that's
some algorithm.
It's an algorithm, but it's also an algorithm to help them get business. They're trying to get a listing. They're trying to get a phone call. Yeah. Those are not what the houses are worth.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And so, and I think, and I've seen agents doing this with it too. They're pricing it based on a market from 3 to 6 months ago. Like, why chase the market down? Like, price it where the market is. Yep. And if you're not getting a listing because they want to sell it for higher, then you're not educating them enough that it's not really worth that, and they don't trust you.
Is it just clients, or is it agents as well that need to have that perception change?
Oh, I think agents too. and I think because it is an interesting market, some agents are, there's fear and some desperation. Right. And so they'll do anything to get that listing, even if it's telling you it's worth more than it is.
Right. This isn't your first cycle, obviously.
No.
After, and again, I got licensed in 99, and I was talking with a agent. I don't do any sales, but I've been licensed for that long. After seeing more than one cycle, like, is there fear? Are you scared, or how do you approach it? What's the mental approach to this market?
I mean, I was licensed in 2005, so it was really good, and then it was really bad, and then it was
it was good and bad like that.
But like, there's education that comes with it. I actually got busier during the crash because so many people got out of the business. Yep. And I was continually learning foreclosures and short sales, and and so with every cycle, it takes work and it takes confidence, and and I've set myself up in a way with rental income and things like that. Like my bills are paid.
Yeah.
So I don't have to force you to sell or buy a house. I want to make sure that I'm really clear in the advice I'm giving, and whatever's going on with me has no bearing on what's going on with you.
It's huge, especially because we were talking about cycles and even COVID. I mean,
oh yeah,
I think you were telling me like you had to help stay in a property to make sure that your client's successful transaction happened, because the tenant, if the landlord or the seller doesn't leave, like that's all of a sudden not your client's property anymore.
So during COVID, there was a no eviction moratorium.
Yep.
If you were in the property, you were not. We couldn't get you out.
Nope.
And I had a client who was selling a townhome, high-end townhome. She was leasing it to someone who was subleasing and doing Airbnb.
Wow.
They put an offer in on the property. They did not get it. They just didn't have the strongest offer. And they did everything to derail that. Like they put a dead rat in the closet. They were trying to keep possession. They tried to it was a lot. And like I had to be there. And stand there while they removed their things from the property to make sure they didn't leave. I had to sleep there that night before close to make sure they didn't somehow get in and then not be able to get out. And you have to not just know people, psychology, the market, but you have to know the laws, what's going on with the current laws. I had another client during that time period who, great couple, pregnant, buying their first house, and the guy that was in it just wasn't leaving. And I did not want their experience to be this. The other agent called me and kind of threw her hands up and she's like, I don't know what to tell you. He's just not leaving. And so it was on me. And I went over there and I met him and I told him that I had an appointment to change the locks. And so I didn't really want to change the appointment. So I changed the locks while he was there and I helped him move boxes out and I left the garage door open so that he could exit when he was completely done. Sometimes you just have to do what you got to do to protect your client.
Well, first of all, the moratorium, I mean, and the property management side, that was just absolutely brutal. And I can only imagine on the sales side, you just finished purchasing this property and, oh, no, you can't have it, because the agent was like, well, yeah, man, I got my part. I got my commission. Like, that's not me. Call an attorney.
Yep. And you'd still have to pay your mortgage. You still have to, then you just have to figure it out.
Again, the testament to the way you are there for your clients is huge, and it shines through in every transaction, in every case study we've talked about. I want to close by asking you, if we were looking back at Baby Bo 20 years ago, you're getting into the industry, just like any new agent, what advice are you doling out to help set you up for success, to help fast track that success?
One of the things that has really helped me a lot is if there's something that I don't want to do, it's the first thing I need to do.
Right.
Because it takes up some headspace and energy. And like after I just take that and get it off, and then I have way more clarity and space. And then if I was talking to myself, I might just hold my face and say, it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's not about you. Like if someone chooses you or doesn't choose you, it's not about you. If someone has respect for your industry or doesn't have respect, it's not about you. You know what I mean? Like all of those pieces of it, like it's not personal. Like I am going to serve the people that are the right fit for me.
Right.
And those are the only ones I'm going to serve.
That's not only is it profound, but it's right on the mark and resonates with me, and I know it's going to resonate with the audience, and hopefully a young agent who, agents are very ego-filled, somebody who will go, hey, it's not about me. Bo Bortner, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate all your insight. Everyone else, thank you for tuning into CashFlow. Again, the podcast where we talk about turning properties into profits. We'll see you next time.